Alrighty, okay, alright. Now, the question would be, before I start the entire video, will I play detached? Steph? Yes? No? Maybe? I will not give you an answer, but everyone would know when I'll play it, okay? Alright. Some of my videos have been guided by a not so invisible hand from you, ladies and gentlemen. And for me, that actually cuts off the process of me trying to find one, find a game. I'm like, oh, fine, there we go. Look at this juicy snack. But yeah, subscribe, like, comment down below. Let's get back to the show. Yeah. Now I delayed this because it's gonna be a bikini episode. Yes, a beach episode. Well, simulated beach or water park, swimming pool. I don't know, water world. Yeah. I skip a couple of lines, but don't problemo, we could snort them back up. If only we could stay here longer. Of course, it was impossible, but I wouldn't mind coming back in a few months or even a year. That evening, I went back to our room to relax, while Juno, as she'd arranged with the girls, went to the hot springs. I didn't mind at all that they didn't invite me. First, I've had enough water for one day, and second, Juno should really have some time alone with her sisters. I didn't bother waiting up for her and crashed face first into the pillow. Okay. Oh my god. So the Steam kind of censors it a bit, but I'm gonna add in a bit more blurs. Just a little bit. I'm trying to keep my channel existing. Meanwhile, while Brizzy slept in their room, Juno, Aura, and Nova met in one of the VIP hot springs of the station's water park. The artificial stars of the Heavenly Baths dome shimmered pink, mingling with steam rising from water infused with minerals from 3 different planets. The spring was on an open platform with a view of all of Protogen Inc. Wow, what a fucking view, man. Neon towers, glowing transport lines hauling cargo from sector to sector, and far off, a dark band of space. A reminder they were still inside an artificial shell, not on a real planet. The hot spring gurgled under an artificial sky, steam lazily drifting into the cool night air created by artificial climate control as Juno, Aura, and Nova sank into the mineral-rich water. Juno sighed in pleasure as the heat washed over her, relaxing her muscles, her hastily pinned up hair growing damp from the steam, a few strands falling on her wet neck. Aura leaned back against the smooth stones and Nova stretched her arms along the edge, working out tired limbs and tipping her head back to gaze at the stars. Welcome back to the quick cut. Oh my god, now we really have to censor this. Oh my days. A feast for the eyes. You really set things up nicely here. I could stay for weeks or months. Nova was quick to chime in, enthusiastically, Then by all means, please stay. Brizzy liked it here too. I'm sure he wouldn't mind. And besides, you could work for us. Aura lazily tilted her head, tossing out the suggestion as if by accident. Like I said, it's not for me, and we have an important business we can't abandon. I agree, that's like the thing that they've been doing for the past 2 years. I absolutely hit the freaking mic, but hey, nonsense. If it were really that important, the Intergalactic Council would be involved. If they aren't, you're just wasting your time. There isn't even an Intergalactic Council in that galaxy. There's no one to step in when something like this happens. If there isn't one, that means it's a galaxy that's, well, how to put it, wild, underdeveloped. Juno sighed, stretching the water. Yeah, but that doesn't mean the people living there don't deserve help and saving. Aura shook her head. I'm afraid you're playing hero too much, and then there'll be no one left to come here for free upgrades. Free? I left half my savings here last time, and it would have cost you way more if you weren't one of us. My god, they're so fucking hot, man. I'm not because I'm not the furry. Once again, I'm just inclined to see muscles and boobs and shit, and I'm like, ooh, alright. Meow. Juno laughed, but their words did not convince her. We just do what we must, what no one else would do. Besides, Brizzy, his planet was destroyed, and I want whoever did it to pay. Nova nodded understandingly, while Aura just snorted, sinking deeper until the water touched her collarbones. Her breasts bobbed gently with each movement. Why are we describing this? While steam curled around him, rising towards the stars. I get it, they got big tatas, all of them. Speaking of him, where is he anyway? Juno leaned back against a smooth stone, letting the water reach her chin. Her skin, glowing pearlescent in the light, blended with the bubbles rising from the bottom. Stayed in the room, wanted to catch up on sleep. There's so much to do here, a week wouldn't be enough for everything, so we spend a lot of time on different activities. I've heard his kind gets tired really quickly, is that true? Nova glanced at Juno with curiosity. Well, faster than us, but not that quickly. Oh, girl, we're talking about the bedtime, huh? Depends on what we're talking about, right? Or a smirk, trailing her fingers along the water surface. Oh, come on. Juno smiled too. Don't hide it, Juno. Tell us. What's he like, down there? Alright, sisters, calm down. Same as everyone else. What I do know is that his kinds, censored at work, are definitely smaller than ours. Juno rolled her eyes, but definitely bigger than yours. Whoa! Aura smirked, Nova burst out laughing. And that doesn't bother you? That he tires out quickly or that he's got less? There's nothing less about it. It's a perfect... Oh my god, I ain't saying that word, man. I don't want to get taken out of context, okay? But it is a fun phrase to say. It's a perfect dick. Wow, what the fuck, man. Edit that, editor. The water fizzed around them, scented with something that was supposed to smell like flowers, but was more like sweet freshness. Somewhere below, massage systems were working, and now and then one would hit someone's back, making them shiver. Oh, come on, you can tell us. We're not going to say a word. Yeah, don't worry about hurting his feelings. Girls, I assure you, we're more than fine. Besides, we love each other. Oh, Juno, you've always been such a sucker for romance. Feeling a little awkward about the claim, Juno tried to deny it. No, that's not true. Well, maybe not as much of a sucker as Senna. Don't even mention that one lover, I don't want to hear it. Her relationship with Marion was always so strange. I'm not sure their current romance will work, even though he really changed according to her. Oh, he really did change, alright, based on the story we saw or read. For those who don't know, Marvin is a protogen like them, but a station he was with or whatever, I don't know, exploded, and on his brain was salvage, you could say. Oh, stop complaining about him so much. They're doing fine now. I talked to her recently. And how long is that going to last? Until he decides to show his character again? Males are the most unreliable and inconsistent part of any species. Whoa. I can honestly say that things with Brizzy and me are nothing like that. I'm glad we met, even if we're from different species. And as I said, his dick is perfect. I really like it. Alright. Blurp that. Nova and Aura looked at her skeptically but didn't argue. Alright, if you say so. The main thing is that you like it, right? Everything else is just details. Exactly, and I really do like it. Juno smiled, stretching the hot water. Anyways, about this planet destroyer of yours, have you thought about contacting her? What about rizzing her? No, that would be weird, that'd be like... they would put the disservice on the deaths of the Brizzy's family. Okay, Juno's face darkened instantly. So did Nova's. All three of them knew perfectly well who she meant. No, not yet. Maybe we'll manage on our own. If we don't, Aura fixed Juno with a meaningful and very pointed look. Juno could only shrug. We'll deal with problems as they come. Aura simply shook her head in disapproval of Juno's overly optimistic and naive answer. How infantile. The main thing is be careful, and if anything happens, come to us. We'll figure something out together. Nova, don't make promises you can't keep. The spring is gone, and now I gotta really censor the fucking tatas. Nova caught Aura's look and nodded. All three sank into quiet relaxation in the hot spring. the steam still rising, filling the air with that sweet, humid scent. For several long minutes, the silence became heavy and uncomfortable for all three as it dragged on until Nova finally decided to break it. Have you heard about Sotha? I heard something ages ago from Senna. Oh, she's got her own drama, if only you knew. Remember that cyborg everyone's been talking about since forever? The one who's an asshole? Sorry, I'm like burping and shit. I think I got the hiccups. Exactly, so Sotha left him and dumped him, then they got back together. Then he said something to her, same old shtick. He's such a jerk, and she ended up with his friend. No way, she said they only needed each other. That's what I thought, but then it turns out. The tone quickly returned to normal, the tension faded, and they continued chatting about the latest gossip about their brothers and sisters scattered across the endless universe. Too bad we can't hear everything they talked about, as it would reveal too much. The next few days passed pretty much the same. We kept having fun with Juno, visiting every center we could, and our outings never repeated themselves. Okay, because here in Aura and Nova's tower, there was literally everything one could wish for. I'm just imagining a big, developed city town / mall. It's got every entertainment thing you could find in the galaxy. So come on. I mean, I haven't visited every single store in the freaking mall, so think about that. Well, it depends on the mall. Like, example, here in the Philippines, Mall of Asia, where it's like a big mall and then add other parts of the mall gets added in over time. So now we got so many stores and businesses in there that you're just like, yeah, I'm not gonna, because you gotta visit one mall. Let's say you're gonna eat food, you're gonna try food, you're gonna eat time, literally. You don't have all the time in the world, as they say. Alright, let's get back to it. Only Aura, Nova, and the robots, as well as the corporation staff, lived on the station permanently. I don't think even a month would be enough for me to see even half of the whole planet-sized station. Travel happened via special tunnels and ports, but even they couldn't get you to the other side instantly. As I learned later, a trip by foot from Sector 0, where we were, to Sector 980, for example, would take several days. Holy shit. But we didn't need to travel. The tower had everything necessary for life at our fingertips, so June and I almost never left it. Each sector can pretty much survive on its own, as they said. It's just, wow, it's just wild to me. We only made it to the first floor once, and even then, just to take the elevator back up. Soon, Nova presented us with her second invention, meant to help with the device's search. She'd been working day and night, putting other projects aside, which Aura wasn't exactly thrilled about, and in record time, she made us the echolocator. What's an echolocator? Nova showed us a small device which looked a bit like the anomaly device we were collecting, but only smaller. It was topped with tiny crystals too, but these were red. It's a signal repeater. I called it the Prankster 1. I dug into the software of the crystals that were on the devices and managed to copy their signal. But each anomaly device has its own unique number, so before you start disarming the device, you turn on the Prankster and it'll copy its unique signal. Then as soon as you turn off the anomaly device, the prankster immediately starts sending out the exact same signal, creating the illusion that the device is still working. That gives you much more time to get away, and that asshole won't pop out of a portal at the worst possible moment. Nova, that's genius! Thank you. So we'll be able to buy some time. That's really important. Thank you, Nova. Really, you've helped us so much. Nova smiled. Don't mention it. I enjoy helping with such stuff. And it's not even all I wanted to present you, but I don't want to talk about the next thing until I know how it works. First, I need to make sure it actually does, and only then... Well, we'll see in any case. Even if my main idea fails with this, you'll have a much better chance of not falling into the enemy's hands. We'll need to practice to make sure we know how it all works. You can do that later. For now, relax a bit more. You both deserve it. Nova smiled and Juno and I, not arguing, went off to continue our vacation, leaving her in the lab. The days slip by unnoticed when there's no danger, when you don't have to think about whether you'll see tomorrow. Everything seems so simple and carefree. Juno and I spent all our free time together trying to savor every second of a quiet, peaceful time. We especially loved the pools, where we could spend hours swimming. Occasionally, we ran into other visitors, but that hardly ever bothered us. Today, Juno and I decided to go to the tasting hall. Wow, what the heck? Where we sampled several kinds of wines and other alcohols from different planets. These were wines and infusions made from such exotic fruits and berries you'd never find them on any station we'd been to before. A bit tipsy, after tasting, we went to a VIP private hot spring to sober up in the cool water. Which turned out to be the same hot spring Juno or Nova visited yesterday, but Brizzy couldn't know that. I knew it. I was like, who's narrating this? It was Juno. Or maybe someone else? It's just the narrator, yeah. At first, we just splashed around like little kids, but eventually we found ourselves leaning against the side of the hot springs, simply enjoying the holographic fish swimming underwater. They're gonna bang. I'm betting money right now. How about you, ladies and gents? I feel like they're gonna do it. It's pretty romantic here. Romantic. Juno grinned, snuggling up closer to me. I knew that look on her face. That tone doesn't promise anything proper. To hell with propriety. When else are we going to have a vacation like this? And besides, there's no one here, just you and me. Oh, I knew it, man. I knew it, man. Her fingers teasingly slid down my bare chest, nails lightly scratching my skin, sending a wave of ticklish goosebumps from head to toe. Are you sure this is a good idea? What if someone comes in and sees us? Who's going to see us? Relax, there's no one around. I grinned. Then I don't see any reason to hold back. Brizzy, you've gone mad. Weren't you hinting at this? Well, not exactly. But since you're suggesting it, I'm totally not against it. Oh my days. But you're still crazy. Juno smiled as my hand slid under the water, insistently pulling off her panties. Okay. She didn't resist at all. On the contrary, she moved her hips to make it easier. I pressed my lips to hers in a kiss, feeling the excitement boiling inside me. You like it, don't you? She didn't even try to lie. I do, but if someone sees us, it's on your conscience. I gave a sly grin. Well, let them watch then. What are they going to do to us? Call security, for example, so they can... Oh, pulling her into another kiss. Welcome back, everyone. So, yeah, let's just continue. See? No one saw anything. You sound almost disappointed. Didn't know you were such a pervert. I laughed and slapped her gently in the thigh. I meant there was nothing to worry about. We finally parted. Oh hell no, now it's all going to leak out of me to the water. Let's get out of here. Juno was a little embarrassed, but that moment the purification mechanisms kicked in, quickly cleaning the water of anything that shouldn't be there. Let's swim a bit more. Juno gave in, still a bit flustered. Or Nova really thought of everything. Look at this. Yeah, well, I hope they didn't put hidden cameras everywhere. Juno blushed adorably, glancing around. Oh, I couldn't help it. I laughed so hard. This is so cute, man. That's the first time she's like, wait a minute. Okay. Even if they saw anything, at least I covered their body with my mighty back so nobody'd see you naked. Huh, thanks a lot then. Damn, I didn't even think about cameras. Well, decent people have nothing to hide. Juno poked me in the side and I laughed again, seeing how cute she looked, embarrassed that Aura Nova might see something. Of course, I didn't really want our personal life to become anyone else's business either, but at that moment, I honestly did not care. It just felt so good to be here with Juno, relaxing and not worrying about anything. When your only problem is maybe being seen during doing it, I'd call that carefree and serene. If only the rest of our problems would be like this. I kissed Juno's cheek and dove underwater, swimming quickly across the hot spring pool. Okay. I thought we were gonna get a background art or something. We soon finished with our swim and got out of the water. And after drying off with towels, we headed towards our room. Well, there we go, they're bickering again. As we passed through another hall, we suddenly heard voices in the distance. Stop the hysterics, I've told you 100 times. No. And don't keep repeating the same thing if you don't want to keep hearing the same answer. Do you even understand how unfair this is? You didn't even let me finish. Didn't let me explain my idea. Idea? Nova, what exactly is your idea? Don't you have enough work? I've told you 100 times, if you're bored, I'll find something for you. You don't hear me at all. You don't even want to try to listen. Why can't you give in to me just once? Is it really that hard? Aura gave a very irritating growl. Nova, don't get on my nerves. I've told you 100 times why your ideas are nonsense. I've said 100 times that no one will buy them and no one needs them. I suggested you change your ideas, change the concept a bit. A bit? You change everything. Everything! There's nothing left of mine once you touch it. Maybe that's because no one needs it. How many times do I have to say it? Nova suddenly snapped and shouted at the top of her lungs. I need this. After this loud cry, full of long, simmering but carefully restrained emotion, there was complete silence. So deep it felt like anyone in the tower could hear Juno and me holding our breath. I glanced at Juno, she looked back at me, and in silence we asked each other, what do we do? Simply put, we didn't do anything out of fear of being caught and making things even worse than before. The silence was deafening, and the next moment there were loud, furious steps coming our way. I did the only thing I could think of, ducked into the first door I saw and pulled Juno in after me. A few seconds later, Nova stormed past the spot where we had been standing just minutes ago, trailed by a wake of rage and pain, undoubtedly hurt by Aura. We waited in that room, a sort of storage closet, for about 5 minutes, making sure she was really gone. Then he came out and headed for her room. Man, it would be really funny if they drew a doodle of them hiding behind the door or something. I don't fucking know. That would be kind of cute. I spoke with genuine concern on my face. That did not sound good. Juno nodded tensely. Yeah, you're right. I've never heard them fight like that. Sure, they argue all the time, but it's more like spats they forget in a couple of minutes. But this? I sighed and shook my head. I feel sorry for Nova. She doesn't deserve that. Her ideas are honestly great, but Aura doesn't want to risk anything and isn't willing to give up even a shred of control to someone else. Not even her closest soul. Juno nodded. I know, Aura's always been complicated, and Nova's always been quiet and calm, and somehow they managed to balance each other out. I managed to make harmony out of chaos. They managed to make harmony out of chaos. You think that was serious? She shrugged. I don't know, but it sounded pretty serious. I agree. We sat in the bed thinking about what to do next. There weren't a lot of options. We have to help them somehow. Juno arched an eyebrow, giving me a questioning look. And how do we do that? Maybe we should just go and talk to them? Juno looked at me like I was crazy. Oh, sure, just tell them we overheard and decided to stick our noses into their business. Well, we overheard by accident. Not our fault they were fighting in the middle of the tower. I agree. No, you can't just go straight to them. We need to be careful about it. I thought for a second. Let's just invite them to play at the casino tonight. Nova definitely won't come and we can have some alone time with Aura and talk to her. You want to talk to Aura first? You're a suicide case. Juno smiled. Well, hardest fight first, then Nova. Alright, time to play family therapist again. They can't figure out how to compromise by just taking turns with hobbies so no one feels left out. There's no way they'll figure this out on their own. Casino, baby! In the morning, we immediately sent an invitation to Aura and Nova to meet up at the casino in the evening. Nova, as we expected, refused, citing work, while Aura agreed, apparently wanting a distraction. I stood in the doorway of the hall, feeling Juno tense up beside me, her fingers digging into my forearm as if she wanted to drag me back to our room and forget about the mission we'd set for ourselves. But she understood that if we didn't step in now, Aura and Nova would keep skirting around the issue for a long time before admitting they were both at fault. Aura walked past us without even turning her head, but the way her shoulders tensed made it clear. She wasn't just angry, she was hurting, though of course she'd never admit it. When we sat down at the table, an awkward silence reigned at first. Ever since we'd managed to unite them in games, the three of us hadn't gathered together again, neither at the poker table nor at the board game table. Nova's chair sat pointedly empty, loudly proclaiming that something had happened. We played for a while and Aura was uncharacteristically quiet and irritable. She wasn't even paying attention to the game ever since we started. Any idea why Nova didn't come? Hearing her name, Aura winced as if I'd stepped on her foot. How should I know? That's her business. Go and ask her. I glanced at Juno. We got the impression you two fought again. Aura was clearly about to snap back something sharp and probably nasty, but she stopped herself just in time. No, we didn't fight. Everything's just wonderful. Then why have you been sitting there for the past 5 minutes showing your cards to everyone? I pointed at Aura's hands. She was holding the cards with the backs towards herself. Damn it! Throwing her cards aside, she leaned back in her chair, tapping out a very annoyed rhythm with her foot. So what happened with you two? What happened? The fact that Nova doesn't understand it's time to stop playing games. Maybe try actually explaining what happened. Aura did not answer, but she also didn't leave. After a couple of silent minutes, she finally talked. She's bugging me again with her stupid inventions. I don't get what she wants. How many times have I told her that dreams alone won't feed you? More than 1,000,000 times already. If I hadn't once taken her in hand and steered her brains in the right direction, she'd be sitting on some junkyard with Senna tinkering with scrap metal. I chimed in with a counter-argument on Nova's behalf, and if it weren't for her brains, there'd be no corporation. There'd be nothing here at all. Aura shot me a vicious look, but didn't argue. Ouch, I bit my tooth. Didn't argue. After all, it would have been pointless. Nova was a genius and only a fool would deny it. Brains are worthless if they aren't put to good use. However brilliant as an inventor she is, as a businesswoman she's a disaster. She doesn't get how to run a business like ours. Everything is on my shoulders and all she can do is offer up her little toys. I've worked so hard to build our name and create this empire from scratch, and it wasn't for some stupid altruism. I wanted us to have money, to have a bright and secure future where we can live in peace and want for nothing. But a business like this doesn't build itself. It needs investments, resources, and most importantly, reputation. What if we lose it? What will happen? What will people say about us? Protogen Inc., a company that makes kids' toys and strange gimmicks. We're still far away from reaching the point where we can stop worrying about money and do what we want because our company started to make a clean profit just recently. We need to be profitable or everything we've spent our effort on just turns into nothing. If you want to remain profitable, then you need to make sure Nova is satisfied with her work and doesn't feel bad about what you do. And if you continue to ignore this or force her to do only what you need, her productivity will gradually decline. Oof. Aura, you know that you and Nova need each other, just doesn't work any other way. Go and tell her that, I already know. Juno shook her head. I realized Aura had no desire to admit her own mistake. It's impossible for this relationship to be one way where Nova is at fault and you're not. It's like that song. Wrong way, down a one-way street. Anybody knows Lemmy? Okay, let's get back to the thing. So it really looks like you both hit a dead end and you have to find a way out of it. Dead end? You call this a dead end? Aura spun on me, her eyes burning with cold fire. She's acting like a child who doesn't get that you can't build a business empire on toys. We make everything this galaxy needs. We have the best products, the highest quality. But how do you manage it? Buy high-strength prosthetics from Protogen Inc. and get a butterfly gun as a bonus. People will call us clowns. What makes you think the butterfly gun is bad? I liked it, for example. Perfect for parties. I'd buy it if it were for sale. Come on, Aura. Maybe Nova's a dreamer, but you're acting no better. You're like her strict nanny, certain that only you know best. But that's not true. Instead of rejecting all of Nova's ideas, you could well at least make a test batch. Yeah, ease her in. Finding the proposal to be short-sighted and unthinkable, Aura sarcastically quipped in response. And lose money? Great idea, Juno. Ever think of starting your own corporation? Oh, come on now. How much money do you really have? You won't go broke over a single batch. I agree. It's a planet-sized business. Aura rolled her eyes. I saw her fingers clenched tighter. You can never have too much money, especially now that we've paid off all the debt from creating this company. Without funds, who knows where we'd be right now. And anyway, why are you both trying to convince me? Are you both on her side? Did she get your pity? Juno rolled her eyes in response. No, I'm on both your sides. But you're not even trying to hear her, you just always give no. Why not just as an experiment say yes, just once? She exhales sharply. Because her ideas are dangerous for business. We'd lose clients, reputation, money. I think I'm just worrying about myself. I've always done everything so we wouldn't both end up on the sidelines. Who else but you, Juno, knows what it's like for us, improper protogens? We earned this reputation and this money with our own efforts. And what are you losing now? What is more important for your business? Aura looked at me, there was something uncertain in her eyes. What do you mean? I'm saying, what are you losing now, right at this minute? Money can always be earned again. Reputation can be fixed too, though I don't see how Nova's harmless inventions can ruin it. You just change your target audience for a different one with those inventions, but it's not specifically a bad thing. And besides that, if you lose Nova and her trust, are you ready for that? Can you get that back? Oh, that's a good... Oh my days, that's actually a good argument right there. This guy's good. Brizzy is good. Aura hesitated for a few seconds and then turned away. She's being dramatic. It'll pass. It just needs. She's not being dramatic. She was trying to tell you how she feels and you just shut her down. She's your closest soul, not your enemy. She has different priorities in her work. Okay, but if you only ever see her as a threat to the business, then yeah, you're doomed. But not just because of losing money. Yikes. A heavy silence fell between us. Aura was thinking and it was clear she didn't like the idea of losing Nova. I saw her lips tremble. Those kissable lips. I mean, and what if I can't control her if I'm not at the helm? Why do you need to control her? She's not a kid. Nova might not be a business shark, but she's not an idiot. Maybe it's time to trust her just once. You didn't start a business with her just because she was smart and easy to manipulate, right? You started because she was Nova, the one you always knew. So instead of focusing solely on your business prospects and financial gain, listen to Nova for a bit and let her have some creative freedom, just so that she's happy with the way you do things. Aura, you have all the wealth, comfort, technology, and building materials available that you can ask for. And Nova's friendship is the most precious resource than all of them combined. Aura closed her eyes. She's like, people, man. It pisses me off. Everything was fine until she started freaking out. Well, I don't know if everything was fine. Then why did she snap now? Maybe she'd been holding back so much resentment and finally decided not to keep silent. Ooh, things are getting spicy, my friends. Aura opened her mouth to reply, but then changed her mind on trying to deflect the blame onto Nova, as was the usual course for her. It's all because of your bad influence. I smirked. If that makes it easier, then okay, we'll take all the blame. Aura rolled her eyes in irritation again, but I could see in her gestures the way her fingers twitch. She knew we were right, and maybe for the first time in her life, was ready to give in. After talking to Aura, we were ready to talk to Nova. Just like with Aura, we tried not to draw attention, just to drop by Nova's lab and discuss how the project was going. Oh, she's sad. When we entered though, Nova's lab looked like a war zone after a pirate raid. Every available square centimeter was covered, stacked, or occasionally mysteriously floating with device parts whose purpose only the creator could fathom. In a corner, a recently deceased prototype was smoldering, faintly smelling of burnt contacts and ambition. We found Nova sitting on her work table, surrounded by holographic schematics. Her hair stuck out in all directions, as if she'd been electrocuted. Nova? At my voice, she jumped up. Oh, you scared me. Are you okay? We were supposed to stop by and talk about the device. Yes, the device. It's almost ready, I think in a couple of days or so. Are you okay? Nova hesitated. She's clearly not okay, my friend. Alright, welcome back. I did a quick cut. I just had my dinner. So, let's go. Nova hesitated. Let's see. Of course. For a moment she froze, her fingers stopping their drumming on the table. I'm working, okay? At least until Aura sends me to mop the factory floors. Why is meowing? Wait a minute. Meow? Oh, she's there. Okay. Things haven't been going well with Aura lately, huh? Nova fell silent. Juno and I exchanged glances. Wait, did she already complain to you about what an idiot I am? Oof! She didn't mean to hurt you. Oh, sure, she just thinks I'm an irresponsible idiot. As usual, I'm used to it. I always try not to push. I gave in to her and now screw all of it. I carefully sat down the edge of the chair, brushing off a few microchips. Juno shook her head. Yep, this is gonna be a long night, Breezy. Women. Alright, calm down, ladies and gents. You know that's not true, Aura. She's just... Aura's just... She's a peculiar gal, If anyone knows, it's you. We're trying to mend this ticking time bomb of a relationship. I know perfectly well what she's like, and she wants me to be just like her. But I can't, and I don't want to. I want to create something new, something unusual. To bring people joy, not just make money. Maybe no one needs my inventions, but I need them. Even if one person out there buys them and it'll bring them happiness, I'd be in seven heaven. Oh my god, it's like my videos. I remember when I started this channel, I did it for fun. And when someone and other people decided, you know what? Yeah, I agree. The thing that you show, it's like the moment you find someone, just one person with a common thing that you like. We could disagree in 10 different things, but one thing, I'm already okay with that. Makes my day way better, happier. Okay, that's pretty much it. There was pain and hurt in her eyes. Juno put her hand on Nova's shoulder, squeezing gently in support. She's just scared to lose what we've both spent so long building. Nova's voice trembled. If she's scared to lose everything, why won't she listen to me just once? I can't make those commercially safe products endlessly. I need to do something for my own soul. Am I asking so much? You guys just speak different languages. That's pretty much it. You see opportunities, she sees risks. But that doesn't mean one of you is wrong. You just have to work as a team. It's not me who's against that, it's her. She only wants to hear herself. Nova sniffled but quickly disguised her tears as angry snuffling. How about trying to talk to her right now? I tried already. What makes her think she'll listen to me this time? Just try it. We promise it'll work this time. I promise? We nodded confidently. Hey! Nova sighed and started toward the exit. Just then, the lab door slid open and she and Aura stood face to face. Oh no. Well, we'll just get out of your way. Juno quickly grabbed my hand and we slipped away toward our room, feeling we'd done our duty. Yeah, no need to be there, bit too personal. The rest of our vacation went well, really well. Nova and Aura eventually made up. They spent a long time discussing what had happened and how to fix it. But the next day, they both looked much more lively and happy. When we came to Nova's lab to actually talk about the invention, Nova proudly and joyfully announced that Protogen Inc. was launching the butterfly gun and smart slippers into production. Sure, the scale was small for now, but it was a huge victory, considering Aura had previously refused to even hear about such innovations. A butterfly gun sounds pretty swell and neat, I'll be honest. And those talking slippers, it sounds funny. It sounds quirky. It's like, what kind of person are you? You have talking slippers? I mean, they're like a pet. Okay, fair point. Fair counterpoint, right? Before we left, Nova finally presented us with her last invention to help with anomaly devices. Remember, this is a very powerful device. It detects the chain of linked devices on the planet and destroys them all at once, which means it releases all the energy stored in them. We carefully took the black box of sturdy metal containing the device. But remember, for it to work, it has to break through the defenses and find the connection of the whole chain, and that doesn't happen in a second. When you use it, keep that in mind. Juno handled the box carefully, as if it might explode at any moment. Thank you, both. You really helped us. Aura snorted. Consider it payment for your psychological therapy services. We chuckled quietly. Really, thank you. Juno hugged Nova and then Aura. Be careful, don't risk your lives. And Juno, think about what we said about asking for a certain someone's help. Nova gave Juno a very meaningful look. I raised an eyebrow but didn't ask. Of course, thanks again, girls. Aura, who wasn't a fan of sentiment, waved her hand. Go on, get out of here. I still have some contracts to sign. Juno and I smiled and headed for the ship, carrying all our newly acquired gadgets. Oh, and Brizzy? Juno? I turned at Aura's call. Drop by sometime. Oh yeah, take this so you don't forget how to get here. Aura gave me her business card, which looked quite stylish, but I couldn't read it right away without the help of my translation device. Big money, baby, thanks. That was probably her way of saying be careful, or I really want you guys to come back. We waved goodbye and boarded the ship. Where to now, my lady? Let's test these gifts in the field. I've marked a few planets within a week's flight from here. Let's see how things are there. With that, our vacation was officially over and we shot off toward new adventures. So that's the end, huh? Oh wait, no, never mind. Getting back to the ship felt strange. We'd been drifting in silent space for days now, the engines humming softly, our lives returning to their old routine. Training, entertainment, preparation for new missions. Thanks to the devices designed by Nova and Aura, I felt much more confident than before, and Juno seemed to agree. Of course, we still weren't ready to face our enemy, but at least we could avoid an unexpected encounter and keep the jets safe. Maybe even our lives. We probably wouldn't be so lucky again. I had to double triple check that we are recording. That would be I would be real fucking mad, man. I would have been mad. We managed to save several more planets. Okay, quadruple check. Yeah, we are. Okay, good. We got used to the new gadgets quickly and couldn't get enough of how safe they made us feel. Sure, they wouldn't save us from the bastards, but thanks to them, we didn't have to meet them. After another run to a contaminated planet, June and I returned to the ship, showered, and settled in for a well-deserved rest. Even if there were no dangers below, this time it was an uninhabited planet with hardly any animals or plants. A walk on an airless world always took it out of us. Juno was rummaging around in the cargo bay, checking if everything was in place, when suddenly among the boxes of gadgets from Nova, she found a smaller one. It had a note attached. Brizzy, did you see this? I came over to see what Juno had found. No, what is it? Looks like Aura and Nova left it. It says to make space travel a little more fun? And a silly winking smiley. I bet Aura wrote that. Sounds more like Nova to me. Is this kinky shit? Wait a minute. Inside was a long red rope neatly coiled up. There was a button inside the box which we pressed and suddenly a hologram appeared. Of a girl tied up with that rope. Not just tied, beautifully tied. Nova, damn it! Juno laughed. What's this? It's Shibari, remember? Oh yes, I shrugged. It's been a long time. Too bad our old one was damaged. But how would they know we need it? Seems like I accidentally told them about that during our girls' gossip. Whoops. Anyways, want to try it? You're going to tie me up? Not yet. For now, just you tie me up. And see about the rest later. Oh my. Oh my, she winked again and I felt heat flare in my belly. That's not belly, man. The next 30 minutes were spent with me trying to figure out all the knots and ropes, following the picture while Juno completely naked lay on the bed. By the time I finished, she was already desperate with anticipation. Welcome back, everyone. Yeah, let's go. Did I wear you out? She just shook her head, smiling contentedly. Censor that? I caught her wrists and started massaging them one by one, restoring circulation, gently pressing my thumbs into the dents left by the ropes. Then I moved up, massaging her shoulders, easing the tension. Juno melted under me, limp and relaxed, eyes closed. She still wore that peaceful expression. I lay on top of her, chest to chest. The air between us was thick, heavy with a scent of sweet and oh yes, that's censored. Oh yep, that word. Our breathing synchronized, our hearts gradually slowing from their frantic pace. Welcome back, everyone. Did a quick cut, of course, because they were talking about a lot of stuff. Yeah. And once again, we were on the ship. Even though it had always been and always would be home for Juno and me, right now everything felt a little different. Maybe it was just too quiet, and I hadn't gotten used to the silence yet. For a few days, we drifted through the void, silent space rushing by outside, the ship's engines pulsing steadily in the dark. The silence of interstellar space warped time, turning it into something abstract. Old routines returned, combat exercises in the training module, computer games to pass the time, careful equipment and system checks. before bed and after breakfast. The upgrades Nova and Aura gave us made a big difference. I felt my anxiety slowly easing, but confidence was still fragile. And I didn't try to fake bravado or anything like that. We weren't ready to face the enemy head on, not in open combat. Not yet. The last encounter left scars deeper than those cut into the hull. Still, we were faster, more prepared, more experienced now. Staying cautious, working faster to deactivate the purple anomaly devices. Thanks to counter devices from Protogen Inc., we could avoid another nasty surprise. All this meant we could hang on long enough to turn things in our favor. There's no such thing as luck, really, but in the endless void of the universe, it matters a lot. And all we could do was hope we hadn't used ours up yet. Our ship passed a familiar sector, one we'd visited a few years back. Outside though, the viewport, an icy blue giant shimmered. Weird. It's gotta be wire. Why like wyvern? Wire. Beautiful but cruel, looking like a pale blue marble from afar. We gotta remember, I picked the option where the guy went to space. Frozen storms raging in its atmosphere, their patterns swirling in spirals like frost on glass. The memory came alive, sharp and sudden. Lance. I couldn't hold back a slight smile. When was the last time I'd seen Lance? Good guy? Bright? Kind? Driven by his dreams? The first of Wire's people we met on our first visit. He'd help us, told us about his people, their customs and beliefs. I shared the same in return. In his eyes full of hope, I saw a reflection of myself, a kid looking out in his tiny village window, dreaming of running away to see the world. Lance's ambitions were familiar to me. He wanted to travel the universe and asked us to take him with us, even though it meant leaving his family, his mother, and many siblings. That was a sacrifice Lance was willing to make. I remembered their farewell well. Okay? I remembered how heavy Lance's heart was as he left his home and his family, heading into the adventures we'd always dreamed of. And we literally left him in some space station. His civilization was still underdeveloped. They lived in tribes, fighting for survival against harsh nature. And we were Lance's last chance to chase his dream. He made his choice. Lance Van's last dance, huh? I think I was even glad he came with us. Like me, Lance wasn't afraid to break through the wall of fate had built. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Juno's voice held a smile. Yeah, I'd like to see Lance. Where do you think he is now? I'd be happy to see him too. Last time we heard from him was, what, 6 months ago? Yeah, about that. He was in training as an expedition escort, right? Juno nodded. Right, I remember. I think it worked out. We should write to him. He didn't answer our last message, but maybe something happened with the comms. He'd probably made a name for himself and gotten all busy and stuck up. We laughed, fondly remembering Lance. I leaned back in the pilot seat, rubbing my eyes. At that moment, I thought we really should write to him, see how he's doing and where he is now. Maybe I do it before bed. Tonight, we were leaving this galaxy and heading to a new point on the universal map. After Protogen Inc., the ship was unthinkably dull. No casinos, gambling, no entertainment centers, just our collection of video games, which we'd of course expanded, and the monotony of black space all around. Juno sat in the next seat looking at the main display ahead. What do you think? Suddenly Pixie's voice interrupted the silence. SOS signal received. I repeat, oh no! What? Is it near us? Alright, quick break, quick cut. We are back in the cozy quiet of the ship. A single sharp signal rang out. Juno's fingers slid across the control panel. What is it? Not sure yet. Looks like a distress signal. It's not clear who sent it. I frowned. What could have happened? Another cargo ship passing by? Juno shook her head. Doesn't look like a cargo ship. The signal's close. We'd see a ship on the radar. The console blinked, decoding the signal. Oh no, that's his planet. That's Lance's planet. Yeah, well, what? Are you sure? I sat up straight, staring out the viewport at the planet as if it could answer my questions. Who could have sent a signal? How much time passed for them? Could they really develop this far? Doubt it. It's gotta be Lance. Oh no, they couldn't have done this themselves. Maybe someone passing by crashed. Pixie, anything else? Are you sure it was an SOS? Absolutely. SOS signal sent about 2 minutes and 5 seconds ago. Probably another research mission. We need to check. What if someone needs help? It's an SOS mission. babe. Yeah, otherwise I wouldn't have sent a signal. Yeah. Pretty much, let's go in. Let's get into that planet. We sat in silence for a few moments. Could it be him trying to lure us to the planet? Juno immediately knew who I meant. The Protogen who was setting up the devices. She shook her head. I don't think so. How would he know we'd be passing by? And besides, devices don't show up on the same planet twice. What if this time is different? No, if it were an anomaly, it would have been detected by the special radars we have. I glance out the viewport again. We need to go down and check. Yeah, you're right. We'll go down and see. But it's just some scientists who ran out of fuel. I'm going to strangle them. Oh, if she finds out it was just some... Oh, okay, yeah, SOS signals are no joke. There are companies for that kind of thing. They can't use the SOS signal just for that. Someone could be hurt. In any case, losing a day won't hurt us. Fine, Pixie, prep the jet. We'll see who needs... Damn, Juno was like... Mother, we're about to bounce. Come on, man. It's on a side quest. Understood. The ship changed course, approaching the planet. It took us longer to get ready since the landing was unplanned, but within an hour we were ready for another visit to Wire. The almost brand new jet, fresh from repairs, welcomed us aboard. You think it would be Lance? Juno shrugged. I loved her outfit, man. I had no idea. If it's him, something's really happened. We'll land and check where the signal came from. I nodded. The jet headed downward, diving to the clouds and parting them like the Red Sea. Milk, sorry. The hull groaned in benign protest as we entered the planet's thin, cold atmosphere, and all the instruments within doing their best to compensate for the strong turbulence outside. Visibility was almost zero. Everything around us resembled nothing but a blank white canvas. So bright that my eye... Oh yeah, there is what we call snow blindness, yeah? I haven't really gotten to snow. The Philippines, it's either earthquakes, super typhoons, rains with insane thunder, crazy wind, or insane drought. So, yeah. Going back to the thing, I sat with my eyes closed for several minutes. Soon my sense of space was so distorted that I couldn't tell if we were flying straight or down or even up, but luckily the instruments kept reliably transmitting our surroundings. Warning indicators flashed jagged red lines on the console, signaling the outside temperature is bad. Juno's hands moved with the calm and confidence of an experienced pilot, her fingers dancing across the control panel as she stabilized our descent. I gripped the armrest of the co-pilot's chair, my knuckles white from every tremor that shook the ship. Beyond the reinforced viewport stretched endless, featureless ice and snow. No cities, no artificial lights, no sign that intelligent life had ever set foot here. Just a wide ocean, broken only by jagged spires of rock in the distance. It got a bit colder in the jet. The temperature dropped a few degrees and then stabilized thanks to the reliable heating system. The air in the cabin grew heavier with cold, but the life support system stubbornly fought back, not letting the frost creep any deeper. Doesn't it feel colder to you? Last time it wasn't this cold here. Juno shrugged. Maybe we hit a change of seasons? No, the planet just said fuck all life on the planet. Fuck the atmosphere. We're going cold here, okay? We're freezing to death in this one. You think the seasons here are any different? Winter or summer, it's all the same. Well, you're right. There's not much difference, but still. The jet roared through the snowstorm on the way down. The white veil outside the window parted for a moment, and down below, the faint shadows of hills could be seen, barely distinguishable against a monotone background. Was the signal far? Did you catch anything else? The hum of overloaded heaters filled the cabin, but the jet held steady against the cold. Juno ran her hand over the control panel, and a shimmering holographic image appeared above the console. You know what I think? There's only one man who would return to this planet, Lance. He got here, and he couldn't get out. He couldn't signal anyone else because who would... This is an underdeveloped planet. There's no point going here. You know. Frozen waves of and I'm assuming his ship couldn't handle the cold. Once it got to this point. Yeah? Frozen waves of terrain, like a petrified sea, slowly rotated in the bluish light of the projector. I'm going losing my mind, ladies and gents. We're right here. I'm starting to descend now. The signal is within an 8-kilometer radius. We're not flying closer? No, I don't want to risk the jet if it's something dangerous. We'll go on foot. I sighed. The magic words. Walking was the last thing I wanted. Because first of all, this is a godforsaken planet. Second of all, it's freezing. And third, we're walking. My muscles still remember the grueling trek through deep, endless drifts. Even in special boots and a thermal suit, every step was a huge effort. Yeah, I was about to say snow would be like your leg, your foot, your feet will be sinking. It's even worse actually. It's like sand, except it's cold. So you might get a frostbite either way, you know. As if the snow grabbed them with icy claws and didn't want to let go. On top of that was a storm, making it impossible to see anything. The signal's pretty clear. I should be able to plot an exact route. Maybe their ship couldn't handle the cold? Exactly, we'll see in a moment. I mentally prepared for anything, but the feeling was unpleasant. Even though we'd already been here, it seemed worse than it looked at first glance. Even considering we were in the jet, in thermal suits, ready to travel across a frozen planet, I still felt the difference. It was cold here too, cold. Even for an ice planet, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were heading right into another trap. But that wasn't my only worry. I was also concerned for those poor souls who had to send the signal. What were the odds anyone would hear it? Tiny. Hardly anyone ever passes by wire, and we might already be too late. The closer we got to the planet's surface, the more I doubted the signal was sent because of something trivial like running out of fuel. That had never happened before. If our radars picked something up, it was never a good sign. If the signal's still going, maybe it's someone's beacon. Did you try to contact them? Yeah, I already sent several signals, but there was no reply. If it were pilgrims, they'd have let us know. Maybe there's no one left to reply. Ooh, Juno agreed regretfully. Unfortunately, that's not out of the question. Who knows how long the beacon's been running, but we still need to check, even if only for peace of mind. We put an extra protection in silence. Always wear protection, folks! Last time Juno barely needed a thermal suit, her physiology regulated her temperature almost perfectly. But this time it was different. The temperature had dropped and we didn't know why, so she wasn't taking any chances. I put on the suit too. Thanks to it, I could survive this snowy hell. Otherwise, I wouldn't have lasted a minute on wire, even on our first visit. Temperature is extremely low. I repeat, the temperature is extremely low. Be careful out there. If your suit is damaged, return to the jet immediately. Thanks, Pixie, my AI friend. The jet's internal sensors beep, warning us that it was so cold on the planet's surface that I just wouldn't survive if anything happened to the suit. Damn, that definitely wasn't the case last time, Juno. I don't like this. I know, me neither. The jet hovered half a meter above the ground, swaying in the strong wind. I double-checked that my suit and mask were tight. Ready for landing? Yes, Pixie. We'll stay in touch. I want to touch Pixie. A signal sounded, the doors opened, the ramp lowered with a hiss of depressurization, and I gasped as a sharp wave of bone-chilling cold hit me. The wind slammed into me like a physical blow. I'm about to blow! Sure, the suit dulled it, but even through it I could feel a faint tingling from the cold. A howling wind swept across the icy plains, carrying the fine crystalline snow that would probably fillet my skin if not for the mass. Before us stretched a snow-white landscape, smooth, untouched, and lifeless. For kilometers around, there was nothing but white, merging with the sky, and my eyes watered again from the maxed-out brightness. An endless, barren wasteland was silent as if the planet itself had frozen in time. Juno stepped out first, her boots crunching across the permafrost with steady steps. I followed, instantly sinking a couple dozen centimeters into the snow. The temperature is way too low, an order of magnitude lower than last time. I already noticed. Something's wrong. The temperature can't drop this much in just a few years. She turned to look at me. A natural disaster? I don't think it's directly natural. It would make sense if the temperature dropped by a few degrees. That happens. But several dozen degrees? Juno. The ones who lived here, could they adapt? No, fuck no, Brizzy. Adapt? Maybe a couple, maybe a good century or so. A decade maybe? A millennium? I don't fucking know, but 2 years? I don't know, buddy. Juno did not answer right. I won't answer that shit as well. And in those few seconds, I got uneasy. I'm sure they found a way to protect themselves from this lower level of code. Yeah, I think I found their solution. Death. But there wasn't a hint of confidence in her voice, because this is... A lot of things die when temperatures start drastically change. We're not talking about 2 or 3 degrees. We're talking about 10, 12, 15 above. My god, man. Your body would go cuckoo, cuckoo. It would be like, okay, I'm gonna try to regulate your temperature, and then boom, it drops into fucking... I don't know, man. Everyone's dead in this planet. She checked her wrist computer. We need to head this way, northwest. There might be a small settlement ahead. We'll pass by it. Let's see what's going on there. I nodded. We still had a more up-to-date map of Wire from our last visit. When we were here a couple years ago, we tried not to let the locals see us at first. We wanted to keep our presence secret. But then Lance showed up out of nowhere. We weren't the first aliens he'd met. A Protogen researcher had come here about 10 years ago, and the locals were aware of space travelers. At least some of them. Juno and I met Lance's family, visited their settlement. These were nice, hospitable beings who treated us like guests. They were pretty nice, actually. They were kind folk. They were a primitive civilization, but still living, breathing creatures, and I sincerely hope they manage to survive. Juno and I set out across the endless snowy expanse. As we walked, the world around us howled with wind. Everything just a white blur. If not for the map and radar, we'd have gotten lost in seconds. With every step, our boots sank deeper into the snow. The blizzard moaned around us. Oh, something like that. Daylight fading behind a wall of intensifying snowstorm. Walking through the snow wasn't easy. Juno handled it much better than I did, just like last time. Her steps were wide and confident, just like her, while I stumbled after her, cursing each time my foot sank even deeper. Are you alright? That's the same thing she asked me last time. Yeah, just like a resort. Juno laughed. Oh, nostalgic, right? That's one way to put it, babe. But even here, I like it better than on Astara. Oh, Astara? Oh my god, that fucking AI planet? Get me out of there. That clanker planet? Get that shit out of here, man. Nodding in understanding, Juno looked at the map again. We're almost at the source. 200 meters to the signal. Get ready, in case it's pirates. What would pirates be doing here? There's nothing to steal. Snow? Ice? I'm fine. Juno snorted. They'll always find something to take. Just in case, I shifted my grip on my rifle, though I was still hoping we wouldn't have to fight. We moved forward. Thanks to the suit and mask, the cold wasn't biting, but it was still felt right on the edge of perception. It was the eternal master of this planet, merciless and unchanging. Juno was ahead, her hair tied in a high ponytail, already covered in frost. You sure the signal came from here? I don't see anything. Juno checked the scanner on her wrist. The weak impulse was still flickering somewhere ahead. Yes, over that ridge, almost there. We continued trudging knee-deep through snow that didn't melt even under our heated boots. Oh no, it's a little bitty spaceship, man! Finally, after cresting the ridge, that's a new word for me, cresting. I guess it's like trekking, walking, gaining or crossing the distance. I guess that's a word for that, cresting. We stopped. Before us, half buried in snow, lay a jet. Its body, black and glossy, gleamed in the dim daylight. One wing was almost completely hidden under a drift, but overall the jet looked intact. What's it doing here? Emergency landing? I shrugged and walked closer, examining the jet. Is it damaged? I carefully inspected the hull for holes. No, doesn't look like it. Seems there's no one inside. I'll try to open it. A familiar model, though a cheap one. Juno approached and touched the hull. A section of the plating slid away silently, revealing the access panel. In a second, it blinked green and the doors opened. We peered inside. It was dark. Talk about poor security. No code and no palm print required. Yeah, and it clearly landed here by itself. Smells like a trap. I hope it's a trap. The darkness inside the ship felt a little less cold than the outside. My fingers instinctively gripped my rifle tighter. Agreed, this does not look good. Maybe we shouldn't go in. Who knows what they left inside? What if someone needs our help? Or at least we'll find out what happened to the pilot. Yeah, but Juno was already stepping inside, her silhouette dissolving into the darkness. Come on in, looks empty. Juno, what did he say? What did we say about safety? I sighed but followed her anyway. Inside was empty but lived in, and it seemed to us that the owner had left just a few minutes ago. But we saw no tracks outside. You will not see any tracks when there's like a blizzard or a storm just piling through with snow upon snow. Here's the control panel. I brought Juno and me stared at the panel where a red SOS light blinked. Maybe. That moment, the light from outside abruptly went out. The doors closed, plunging the jet into complete darkness. Juno and I raised our guns, aiming to the shadows. Suddenly, the ceiling lights came on, illuminating the figure standing before us. It was about my height, wearing a cloak, hands gripping a rifle aimed at us. God damn, what happened to Lance? At first, I froze, but as soon as I looked at his face, something clicked in my brain. Lance? It really was Lance standing in front of us, but something about him had changed. As if it had been not a few years but decades since our last meeting. I agree. He looked grown up, older than I remembered, tired and grim. Where there once had been a spark of enthusiasm, adventure, and life, now there was nothing. The spark was gone. It seemed as if Lance had been through hell and then come back. Brizzy? Juno? No, my boy is broken. Who did this? It was you, sleepyheads. You did this. You wanted us to continue the adventure, and here we are. His voice betrayed nothing. It looked us over with a sharp, searching gaze. What are you doing here? Whoa, yo, whoa, what's with the whoa, man? Whoa. Let's calm. Hi, Lance. We were passing by and picked up a distress signal. Came to check if everything was all right. His eyes, cold as the storm outside, narrowed. Or were you just planning to quietly clean up where you made the mess? What are you talking about, old friend? As if you don't know. My man, what do you mean? What do you mean? What happened? Did we accidentally give you to a fucking, Redditor? You became a Discord kitten? I'm sorry, man. I didn't know what kind of protogen we were giving him. What happened here? Why did you send a signal? And where have you been all this time? We wrote to you. That's a long story. The only thing that matters is that a couple of weeks ago I detected a sharp drop in temperature here. So I decided to check what happened. A temperature drop? How could you detect that? I visited sometimes. Left a beacon just in case something happened and there'd be another anomaly. It looks like I was right. Okay, that was not on us, my man. I frowned, not quite understanding what Lance was hinting at. You mean the devices? Lance's gaze sharpened like a knife. Exactly. Wait, what makes you think it's the devices? We deactivated all of them, remember? I doubt that. What else could cause such a sharp temperature drop? It clearly didn't just happen by itself, and this is on you. Oh man, of course. Why bother saving some tiny frozen planet, right? My man, it's... What do you mean? Lance took an angry, sharp step toward us as if he was about to jump at us barehanded. Whoa. You don't want to fight my wife, okay? She's a beast. She's ripped, man. I wasn't going to and didn't want to fight, but my hands instinctively tightened my rifle. Juno raised her hands in a conciliatory gesture. I never knew that word as well. Write that down, ladies and gents. Okay, stop, Lance. Believe us, we're not to blame here. We deactivated and took away all the anomaly devices. If even one had been left, our radars would have detected it. Yeah, I would say if one remained, the planet would cease to exist. Lance pressed his lips into a thin line. Then what the hell happened here? Are you saying you don't know? We're not Google, man. What the fuck? I'm not Chat GPT. We picked up the signal and came down to check what was happening here. Believe me, if it had been an anomaly device, we'd have known right away. Maybe it's a new one. New anomaly devices have never appeared on the same planets, and our radars would have picked it up if it were an anomaly device. Oh no, so we're just gonna tell him his family and friends died because of natural selection of the planet? That's awful, man. Lance, please listen. We really aren't to blame here. We don't know what happened, but we'll definitely help you We'll definitely help you and find out what's going on. Oh no, Lance was silent for a few moments, tense, as if expecting a trick from us. Then he finally lowered his rifle, slinging it over his shoulder. Fine, have it your way. How long have you been here? Since yesterday. Because of the storm, the jet broke down. I went out a few times, tried to figure out what was going on, but I don't have the right equipment. I gave a conciliatory smile. Well, we do, and we'll definitely get to the bottom of this. Juno nodded, confirming my words. Have you been to your family yet? Oh no, but he quickly wiped the expression away. No, couldn't land there because of the weather. Haven't been able to reach them. But I found a strange signal a few kilometers from here, to the northwest. Huh. Then let's go there, check out what it could be. I'll tune the radars. Yes, sir. Beep, beep, boop, boop. Searching for the signal Lance mentioned. Yes, you're right. The sensors are picking up something, but the signal is weak. I felt an unpleasant squeeze in my chest. Not an anomaly. Juno shook her head. No, definitely not, but we'll find out what it is. Oh no, he's got about to shoot. At last he sighed. Let's go, I don't want to waste time. I still need to see my family. No one You will absolutely find corpses of them. There, no freaking way a bacteria would survive this or would be active in this frozen wasteland. Maybe it won't be dead, but it will not decompose. No one argued. I wanted to know what was going on as soon as possible and to prove to Lance that we had nothing to do with it. It was very unpleasant and bitter to realize that Lance suspected us like this. We sincerely wanted to help, did everything we could, risked our lives for his people, and now his accusations cut deep like a sharp knife in the snow. But I didn't say anything. It was clear that Lance was going through a tough time and I didn't want to make things worse. Yeah, a lot of things going through his head, like his family. We left the jet and set off. Lance was silent and we didn't dare speak either. The silence was tense and unnatural, and I couldn't shake the growing sense of guilt inside, even though I knew it made no sense. We did all we could. Who better than me to know that? Soon the silence became so oppressive that I couldn't stand it anymore. So, how have you been? Where have you been all this time? Lance didn't even look back. Working. Oh, cool. Where? On UL 1200. 1200. Fuck it. 1200. I looked questioningly at Juno and she quickly explained. It's a company that provides escort services for expeditions. Mostly works with researchers, the best way to see other galaxies. Lance just nodded. I awkwardly cleared my throat. Man, must not have been a nice experience. I don't know, man. So, been to a lot of places? Enough. Nice. Yeah, this is awkward. This is not working, my man. We kept moving in silence. The landscape around us was the same. Last time we landed several dozen kilometers from here and visited a different village, but probably the story of sky travelers had spread to the neighbors over these years. Maybe the people who lived here knew about us. And I still hope they were alright. 50 meters out. Oh no, they're dead! Soon through the swirling snow outlines appeared, dark silhouettes against endless white. It was a village with several huts covered in snow. They were little different from those in Lance's village, rough structures with dome-shaped roofs, half buried in snow, made from the only kind of local trees able to survive these conditions. We slowed as we reached the edge of the settlement. My breath caught. It was quiet all around. No movement, no smoke from fires. No signs of life at all. Where is everyone? They're dead. We passed by the houses heading deeper into the settlement. Lance's face was tense and fearful. He looked for any living soul but found none. Hey, is anyone here? We came to help. In the middle of the settlement was a small structure, apparently a communal fire or kitchen, but everything was buried under snow. Where could they have gone? I don't know, this isn't my tribe. I don't recognize their symbols. But they wouldn't have left the village. Someone would have stayed behind. Children, women. You don't know who they are? No. There are lots of tribes on the planet. My people know some of them, but I've never seen these before. Probably nomads from the south. Only the winds howled broke the silence. Looks like something had happened here that caused them to abandon this place. Lance rolled his eyes. Yeah, maybe an anomaly. His voice was dripping with sarcasm, so I bit my tongue. We should look around. Maybe someone's still here. We decided to check inside the house, came closer to one of the buildings and knocked on the wood. The entrance was covered by a tattered hide, hardened by the cold. As carefully as possible, I pushed it aside. My gloves scraping against the ice-crusted material. Inside was cramped, barely enough room for a few people. I set foot inside and then Juno Lance followed shortly after. Furs were scattered on the floor. Primitive household tools lay about, carved stone knives, a small hearth filled with long cold coals. Dinner had been left unfinished, the contents of a wooden bowl frozen solid. They left in a hurry. I pointed to the remnants of food, the general chaos in the small room. As if they jumped up and ran. Hypothermia? That's my only explanation, you know. Like your body would then say, "Oh shit, I think we're hot and we're in heat." Not that kind of heat, the kind where you think you have a fever and you're burning up like 40 plus degree. I don't know, insane shit that you would then you would rather go outside in the blizzard in the snow where you would most likely die. A predator or... Lance shook his head, cutting her off. A predator wouldn't get this close to the settlement. It could have been a Greek, a huge beast that lives in the mountains, but it wasn't. Because he would have left everything in ruins, not like this. Maybe some other animals? With this cold, they could have been starving and took the risk. Maybe you're right. Lance disagreed. It definitely wasn't an animal. Look, everything's still in place, which means they just got up and left, but why? We looked around, stepping further through the snow, searching for any clues. Over here. There should be the Elder's hut. Maybe something's left there. We went deeper into the abandoned village, the snow crunching loudly underfoot. The wind died down a bit, leaving behind an unnatural silence, a silence so dense it pressed on our eardrums as if someone had stuffed fingers in your ears. Every hut we passed was the same. Hastily abandoned with belongings left behind, as if the residents suddenly sprang up and ran off just as they were. All tracks had long been covered by snow, but here and there in the drifts you could see things dropped in haste. Sometimes children's wooden figurines poked out of the snow. Suddenly Juno stopped. I followed her gaze and frowned. In the center of the village next to the elder's hut, there stood something strange. It was either a stone or ice pedestal, its surface perfectly smooth as if it had been polished for a very long time. On it lay a crystal encircled by symbols written in something red. What the hell is that? Juno shrugged. Looks like an altar. We stepped closer, trying to read the symbols. Yes, it's an altar. What in the altar below? What does it say? Can you read it? Lance studied the symbols for several long seconds. I don't understand it. It looks like our language, but at the same time it's not. It reminds me a bit of the southern dialect mixed with ours. I can only make out a few words: wrath and protect. In a name, Yargus. Wait, that sounds familiar. It's the wind spirit, the evil and unruly brother of Guar, the sky spirit. Right, you told us before. Something like there were two brothers, Yargus and Guar. They were spirits, but Guarg was good and Yargus was envious and evil. So the locals worship Yargus. Lancer, I doubt it. Can't really say. I think this altar is more like a protective charm. A charm against a spirit. Against Yargus? Lance nodded. Every tribe has its shamans. They build Every tribe has its shamans. They build altars, to ask for things to appease or to protect. But I've never seen an altar like this. Like I said, I've never met this tribe. Probably when the temperatures started to drop, this tribe tried to protect themselves from Yargus with altars. Makes sense that it's a charm. Yargus was an evil spirit after all. I looked at the stone in the center, and what's this? Looks like a gemstone. Maybe an offering? I reached out and touched it, and it instantly jerked my hand back. Damn, it feels like it's moving. I don't think it's from our planet. Juno and Lance also stepped closer to look. Juno touched the stone. It gave off a faint hum, So soft it was almost impossible to hear even in the dead silence. Juno scanned it with her wrist computer. Strange. What? There is residual energy. It's weak and I can't say exactly what it is, but this isn't just a relic, it's like a beacon. Before I could stop her, Juno took the stone in her hand, turning it over and examining it. The moment the stone was lifted from the altar, it seemed to come alive in her hand. It glowed with a faint violet blue light heating up in her palm. What the? Juno, you'd better put that thing back. Wait, this reminds me of something. The next second, Juno cursed and dropped the stone. Damn, this is one of the device crystals. My eyes went wide. Oh no, whoa, wait a minute, Lance. Wait a minute, this is not. I told you it was an anomaly device. I knew it from the get-go. Juno, are you sure? Are you really sure? My throat tightened. It meant Lance was right and that we hadn't gotten all the devices, and then everything turned upside down inside me. This is your fault. This is on you, on your conscience. You mean there was another one here and we didn't find it? Juno tried to calm everyone down. Lance, I swear we didn't know about this. If we missed it back then, it means the device wasn't infected with anomaly. Our radars are tuned to that specifically. The energy left in them isn't related to the anomaly, you hear? Then what is it doing here? What is this energy? I don't know, okay? You better back off, Brizzy, before I fucking tighten you up. I don't know. Maybe it was damage. Faulty software or something like that. Okay, this is bad. This is bad. Lance is gonna shoot us. Oh, what a great defect that ends up freezing everything around it. Lance, it's not about the anomaly. I'm telling you, something else is going on here. If it was an anomaly, there wouldn't be anything left of the damn planet. I took a deep breath, trying to calm down and make sense of what was happening. My thoughts were a mess. Alright, let's all calm down and think. The crystal is here, so the locals found the device and what, took it apart? Something like that. Lance, if they could touch the device, even take it apart, it means it wasn't activated. Believe me, we've worked with this for years. Then what is this energy, huh? Where did it come from? Whatever it is, it showed up after we left. An uncomfortable silence fell between us. Alright, I can track the other crystals by their residual energy. They're connected, and if we collect them all, I'll try to analyze what they are. We'll find out what type of energy this is and where the source of it is. I nodded, hopefully. Lance, still on edge, stepped aside, running a hand through his hair. Alright then. Juno scanned the crystal for a few moments, then got absorbed in the computer. Okay, I'm getting a positive reading, about 7 kilometers from here. It's on a mountain. A mountain? You mean Yoharo? What's Yoharo? The sacred peak. It's a place for shamans, rituals, elders, gatherings. Looks like the next altar is there. But it doesn't make sense. There've never been altars like this there. I'm telling you, I've never met this tribe and their altars have never been here. Whoever they were, they found the device and took it apart. We need to follow their trail. A hologram appeared from Juno's wrist computer. The image flickered, then changed, showing the mountains again. Let's go. We need to figure out what happened here. Lance stepped ahead of us, literally forcing his way through the snow and storm. He clearly knew where to go without any maps. Juno gave me an encouraging look and we followed him. Even though I understood in my mind the anomaly wasn't to blame, I still felt the bitter guilt on my tongue. How could we have missed another anomaly device? How could we have overlooked it? As if something happened to this planet because of us. Even though we saved it as best as we could, threw all our strength into helping, I still could not shake the gnawing guilt deep inside. We set off towards the mountain, leaving the abandoned settlement behind. The journey promised to be dangerous. A mountain loomed in the distance, half lost in snowstorms, and the storm was getting worse. Lance led the way, and as he leads the way, I also will be leading the way of ending this video right here, everyone. Subscribe, like, comment down below if you want more, but I'll be seeing you in the next My Furry Protogen part 3, yeah? We'll be doing shorter videos like this. Or in a different video, I don't know. See ya! Good luck with whatever you're doing. Bye!